So we're just a couple of days away from the budget, much anticipated. For the people who are putting the finishing touches on that document right now, you've got an opportunity on this show, they're likely watching, to lay out exactly what it would take for the NDP to support it. So what would it take?
Well, to answer that question, Mike, I think it's helpful to describe the context as we see it. So right now, Canadians are really struggling across the country. You know, prices are sky high for groceries and rent. Unemployment is at its highest level in 10 years, particularly bad for young people. 1 in 6 young people, Mike, is out of work, and many more are underemployed. You have sluggish economic growth, and of course we face serious problems from south of the border. So we, in that context, with serious affordability problems and serious issues facing our economy, we want to see a budget that invests in Canada. We see this as an opportunity for us to develop our economy and put people to work, create good jobs, build affordable homes, strengthen healthcare, and get our economy moving again. So we want to see an investment budget, not an austerity one.
So what are the markers you're looking for then? Because if you're saying you want to see investment in housing, investment in healthcare, to what level? You must have an idea of what you want to see in that budget.
Well, it's always hard to talk about a budget that we haven't seen yet, and...
But you're talking about how you don't want this to be austerity, you want it to be investment.
Right.
So to what level? You must have a marker. I mean, if they come and say they just want millions of investment, that's likely not what you want.
Well, let's start with not cutting. So we have a healthcare system that I think is in crisis. People can't get a family doctor, people have long wait times, health workers are burning out. So the absolute worst thing that you could do that we would never accept is cuts to the healthcare system. So that's sustaining it. But we also want our healthcare system to be strengthened. So, the NDP brought in pharmacare and dental care. We want to see those programs supported. And we'd like to see sufficient funding that we can build a healthy system. We've said that a healthy economy needs a healthy workforce. So there's an example. In terms of investment, it's not just investing in nation-building infrastructure, it's making sure that those taxpayer dollars are creating good family-sustaining, preferably unionized jobs across this country. We don't want to see that money go to foreign firms or for instance, temporary foreign workers. Investing in our country with a $300 billion infrastructure deficit, there's no shortage of great projects we need in this country, whether it's high-speed rail between Windsor and Quebec, or mines with Indigenous partnerships in British Columbia, or the infrastructure cities need. We should be investing in our country right now. And that's why, Mr. Carney referring to an austerity budget or signaling to Canadians that he's going to cut jobs or cut services Canadians rely on, we think that's the absolute wrong way to go, and that won't cut it for us.
So given the scenario that you put forth as well, that Canadians are struggling and that Canadians are having a hard time paying the bills and getting services, is this then the right time for an election?
Well, we don't think so. I don't think Canadians...
So does that mean that you're going to vote for this budget? Because that's kind of the binary decision you have in front of you, is either you support the budget, no matter what they put in it, and whatever it is that you hope will solve all the problems that you laid out, or you go for an election at a time when possibly Canadians don't want one.
For 6 months, Mike, I've been saying Canadians elected a minority parliament. And that means that Mr. Carney has a minority. He needs to work with other parties to get anything passed, including a budget. It's his government. He holds the pen. And the question of whether there's an election or not is entirely up to Mr. Carney, because it's his job to craft a budget that can win the support of at least one other party.
But you can help him craft that budget by laying out even today and saying this has to be in there, and then I will support you. You have that opportunity. I mean, that was partially an opportunity that was in the supply and confidence agreement, but now it's even a greater opportunity because there is no contract that really ties you to the Liberals. So why aren't you being very clear to lay out to this government, this is what has to be in it, and then you'll have our support?
Well, you may recall that Mr. Carney very early on said that he would not seek any agreement with the New Democrats. It's up to the government to reach out to the other parties in order to ask us for what we want in the budget. They haven't done that. I mean, it's up to them to invite parties in. A month ago, you had Steve McKinnon, the Liberal House Leader, saying that they were just going to govern and put a budget out, and it's up to the opposition to vote how they want. So this is the approach they've chosen to take, is to almost govern like they have a majority and then double dare opposition parties to vote yes or no. I don't think that's the way that a minority parliament should work. We have been very clear, though, about things that we need to see in the budget. Has to create good jobs, has to create affordable housing, has to protect healthcare. And we've been specific. If you listen to us in the House, we think there should be a youth climate corps, put young people to work in communities across this country. Good for creating jobs, good for environmental resilience. We've talked about an east, west, north electricity grid so that we can actually bring clean energy to people. We've talked about co-op housing and how that's essential. So there's no shortage of specific proposals that the NDP has identified to the government that if they want to, they can put in the budget. So it's entirely up to them. We don't want an election right now. We'll see if Mr. Carney crafts a budget that can win the support of us or any other party.
Given all that, when the budget does have to go to a vote, is there a scenario where there are some NDP MPs who don't vote, are absentee for whatever reason?
Well, we're not going to speculate on any kind of electoral outcome. What I've said from the beginning is we're going to wait and see the budget. I think that's what a responsible opposition does. I'm a little bit disappointed at the Conservatives and Bloc who seem to position themselves to vote no to a budget they haven't even read. So we're going to do what I think, I'm a Jack Layton New Democrat, Mike. I mean, we want to be propositional. We want to actually work to make Parliament effective for people. So we're going to read that budget carefully. We're going to consult stakeholders. We're going to talk to working people, and we will caucus together. And if this budget is good for working people, it might earn our support. And that's the lens we're going to use. Is this budget good for working people? Not just for the corporate sector or for the wealthy. I'll point out that Mr. Carney has given billions of dollars of tax cuts to the wealthiest Canadians in this country. He cut the capital gains inclusion matter. He withdrew the digital services tax on the biggest tech companies in the world. The Mark Zuckerbergs, the Elon Musk.
It was a calculation in negotiations with the United States, they would say.
Chose to do it. Both of those measures took billions of dollars out of the government's coffers, and now they find themselves with a revenue problem. So if they end up cutting services Canadians rely upon, we think those are poor choices. You'll be hearing New Democrats loudly and clearly if that's what happens in the budget.
Just before I let you go, in that vein, we'd heard from François-Philippe Champagne, the finance minister, saying this week that public service must return to sustainable levels, and he used the term workforce adjustments. How much does that worry you?
It worries me a lot.
Are those the type of cuts that you're worried about and that would force you to not support a budget?
Well, absolutely, we're worried about it. I mean, if we want to create jobs for people and we have an unemployment problem, then cutting, good family-sustaining jobs that deliver services to Canadians. I mean, do Canadians want to wait an extra 3 months to get a phone call back from CRA? Do they want to wait 6 months to get a passport? Do seniors have to wait longer to get their OAS checks? I mean, there's ramifications and consequences to cutting services. So budgets are about choices. We're going to wait and see what kind of choices Mr. Carney makes. And New Democrats were sent here to fight for working families and make sure that they get relief from the terrible affordability crisis that they're facing. And that's the lens we're going to bring to this budget. But now's the time to create jobs, not cut them, in our view.
Okay, we're going to have to leave it there.